Welcome to Senior Wisdom Life, where growing older doesn't mean growing weaker. Today, we're asking a question that might shake everything you've believed about aging. Is weak legs and poor balance just a normal part of getting older, or is it your body quietly crying out that your muscles are breaking down? Stay with us because in this video, you'll discover a surprising truth. One common food, costing less than $2, when eaten at the right time, can begin restoring your strength in as little as 14 days. That's exactly what happened to Mr. Raymond, 78 years old from Florida. Just 2 weeks ago, he couldn't climb 5 steps without help. Now, he walks a full kilometer every morning, without the gym, without pills and pain. So what changed? It wasn't a magic cure or a miracle supplement. It was a simple shift in routine, eating black beans at the right time of day. Backed by cutting-edge science, this humble food is now known to stimulate muscle growth, reduce inflammation, and help older adults bounce back faster than ever. If you've been skipping breakfast or telling yourself I'm just getting old, then today's video is your wake-up call. Because the truth is, your body can still rebuild strength if you fuel it the right way, especially first thing in the morning. Before we dive in, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Senior Wisdom Life. Join a growing community of older adults who are reclaiming their energy, mobility, and independence, starting with what's on their plate. Let's get into how this simple breakfast habit could be the key to unlocking the strength you thought was gone for good. Sarcopenia, often described as the gradual loss of muscle mass and strength associated with aging, is one of the most underestimated threats to independence in seniors. While it may sound like a distant clinical term, its effects are all too real. Difficulty standing up from a chair, shakiness when walking, unsteady stairs, and eventually, the inability to live without assistance. What makes sarcopenia particularly insidious is that it doesn't strike suddenly. Instead, it creeps in quietly, starting as early as our 40s, subtly weakening muscle fibers until the body can no longer perform basic functions with confidence. According to the National Institute on Aging, muscle mass declines at a rate of 38% per decade after the age of 30, accelerating after the age of 60. By the time someone reaches their 80s, they may have lost up to 50% of their muscle mass compared to when they were younger, unless active countermeasures are taken. But muscle is far more than just bulk or appearance. It's our foundation of movement, posture, and stability. When muscle diminishes, the consequences extend far beyond mobility. It affects balance, increases the risk of falls, slows reaction times, and even compromises metabolic and cognitive health. Studies from the World Health Organization have shown a strong link between sarcopenia and higher rates of osteoporosis, insulin resistance, memory decline, and cardiovascular problems. Seniors with severe muscle loss are 2 to 3 times more likely to suffer from falls and fractures, which often result in hospitalizations or permanent disability, and those who fall and break a hip. Nearly 20% will die within a year, not from the injury itself, but from the cascading health decline that follows. So why does sarcopenia occur, and can it be reversed? The answer lies in the delicate balance between two fundamental processes in the body: muscle protein synthesis (MPS) and muscle protein breakdown (MPB). In youth, these processes are in equilibrium. The body breaks down old, damaged muscle proteins and rebuilds new ones efficiently. But with age, that balance tips unfavorably. MPS slows down due to a combination of hormonal shifts such as reduced testosterone and growth hormone, decreased physical activity, impaired digestion and nutrient absorption, and perhaps most critically, poor dietary habits. When MPB outpaces MPS, muscle tissue steadily erodes. The result isn't immediate but cumulative. The chair feels heavier, the grocery bag harder to lift, the walk to the mailbox more exhausting. Some might believe this is just natural aging, but recent evidence challenges this assumption. A 2022 review published in the Journal of Nutrition, Health and Aging revealed that sarcopenia is less about age itself and more about lifestyle, particularly how we eat and move. Older adults who maintain adequate protein intake, engage in light daily physical activity, and adjust their meal timing can not only slow muscle loss, but also regain previously lost strength. The body retains its ability to build muscle well into the 80s and 90s. It simply needs the right inputs. In other words, sarcopenia is not a fate we must accept. It's a condition we can confront with science, strategy, and consistency. Now here's where the misunderstanding begins. Many seniors mistakenly focus on pills and powders to solve what is fundamentally a food and behavior problem. No supplement can outpace a diet that lacks essential amino acids or is mistimed. The timing of nutrition is a particularly overlooked element. For instance, skipping breakfast, or worse, replacing it with coffee and toast, can mean missing the body's most optimal window for muscle protein synthesis. In the early morning, the body is primed for nutrient absorption after an overnight fast, especially for proteins and amino acids like leucine, which serve as the key trigger for muscle repair. Ignoring this opportunity each day adds up, over weeks, months, and years, into a condition that many chalk up to getting old, but which is, in truth, dietary neglect. Another factor often dismissed is the role of insulin sensitivity in aging muscles. Muscle is the largest glucose sink in the body, and when insulin stops working efficiently, as it often does in older adults, nutrients don't enter muscle cells as they should. Instead, they linger in the blood, leading to fatigue, inflammation, and muscle breakdown. This process is worsened by high-sugar breakfasts and processed carbs that spike insulin, exhaust the system, and leave muscles starved of fuel. Proper nutrient timing, especially first thing in the morning, can help resensitize insulin pathways and improve amino acid delivery into muscle tissue. Hormonal decline also plays a key role in this cascade. As levels of estrogen, testosterone, and IGF-1 decrease with age, the muscle's ability to respond to even a high-protein meal diminishes. However, this resistance isn't absolute, it can be overcome. Studies have shown that certain food-based amino acids, particularly leucine, can stimulate muscle growth even in elderly individuals with anabolic resistance. This is one reason why foods naturally rich in leucine, like legumes and eggs, have become focal points of new geriatric nutrition protocols. But perhaps the most important message is this: age does not equal muscle loss, poor choices do. When older adults are given consistent, bioavailable sources of protein at the right time, combined with even modest physical activity, muscle mass and function can be dramatically improved. In one trial involving men and women over age 70, just 2 weeks of a targeted morning meal strategy led to statistically significant gains in grip strength, walking speed, and balance, without any changes in exercise level. The body is always listening, it just needs the right message. And what sends that message most clearly? Not medicine, not gym memberships, but breakfast, specifically what you eat within the first hour of waking up. That leads us to a critical question. How exactly does the first meal of the day influence the body's ability to fight muscle loss, and what makes some breakfasts silently destructive while others rebuild your strength at the cellular level? Let's explore that in the next section. For many seniors, breakfast is either rushed, skipped altogether, or composed of foods that do more harm than good. A cup of tea, a slice of white toast, maybe a few pieces of fruit. On the surface, this may seem light and healthy, but in reality, it's nutritionally inadequate and metabolically risky. Others may replace breakfast with coffee and sugar-laden pastries, thinking it's better to eat something sweet than nothing at all. Still worse, some believe skipping breakfast helps them burn fat or gives their stomach a rest. These habits may have been developed over decades, but they're now silently accelerating muscle loss, imbalanced blood sugar, and chronic fatigue in aging bodies. The truth is that after an overnight fast, your body is in a state of catabolism, a biological setting where muscle protein is being broken down to provide energy. If you don't interrupt this process quickly with a nourishing meal rich in complete proteins, the body continues to erode its muscle tissue. That's why what you eat for breakfast, and when you eat it, matters more than ever after age 60. Biologically, the morning hours are the body's window of opportunity. After fasting for 8 to 10 hours during sleep, your cells are primed to receive nutrients. This is when insulin sensitivity is at its peak, meaning that your body is more responsive to nutrients and better at using them for repair and energy. If the first meal lacks high-quality protein, especially leucine, a key amino acid for muscle synthesis, then that optimal window passes unused. By noon or later, the body's ability to absorb and utilize those same nutrients diminishes significantly. That's why seniors who delay or ignore breakfast tend to experience more muscle wasting, blood sugar instability, and reduced mental clarity throughout the day. Let's break this down even further. A proper breakfast for older adults must fulfill several essential functions: halt overnight muscle breakdown, provide stable blood sugar levels, and jumpstart mental and physical energy. Unfortunately, typical breakfasts like cereal, toast with jam, or even fruit smoothies often fall short. They lack essential amino acids and are often too high in simple carbohydrates, causing a quick spike in blood sugar followed by a crash, leaving the body fatigued and the brain foggy. Worse, they do little to signal muscle growth or repair. On the other hand, a well-balanced breakfast, one that includes plant-based proteins, healthy fats, complex carbohydrates, and anti-inflammatory components, can begin reversing these effects in just days. Think of your first meal as an instruction manual for your metabolism. When your body receives a clear message, we're rebuilding, fueling, and protecting, it responds accordingly. That means better muscle preservation, steadier energy throughout the day, reduced cravings, and even improved immune function. And it's not just about the macronutrients. Breakfast is also the perfect time to deliver key micronutrients like magnesium, potassium, B vitamins, and antioxidants, which are critical for muscle contractions, nerve signaling, and reducing chronic inflammation in aging tissues. Scientific evidence supports this. In a 2019 study from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, seniors who consumed at least 25 grams of protein within 90 minutes of waking saw measurable improvements in muscle mass and strength, even if their total daily protein was similar to those who ate later. In another trial, older adults who ate a high-protein, high-fiber breakfast had better postural stability and faster walking speed than those who skipped or delayed their meals. These findings align with the concept of chrononutrition, which emphasizes not just what you eat, but when you eat it to align with your body's circadian rhythm. Now, let's return to a more personal perspective. Imagine two 70-year-olds. One begins his morning with scrambled eggs, half a cup of black beans, and steamed spinach with olive oil. The other skips breakfast, has a muffin at 10:30 a.m. and only sits down for a real meal at lunch. Within a month, the first individual sees better mobility, clearer thinking, and improved blood work. The second notices increased fatigue, more muscle aches, and possibly even weight gain, not from fat but from lost lean tissue. These divergent outcomes are not about genetics or age, but rather about habitual choices made every single morning. This brings us to an important reflection. Each breakfast you eat is either feeding your muscles or breaking them down. It's not a neutral act. It's a daily vote for strength or decline, so ask yourself honestly. This morning, did I feed my body to rebuild, or did I let it keep fading? The good news is, it's never too late to turn that around. Change doesn't require fancy supplements, expensive powders, or hours in the gym. Sometimes it starts with just one plate, and one decision made at 7:00 a.m. Many of the most compelling transformations we've seen in clinical practice began not with therapy or medication, but with food, simple, affordable, real food consumed consistently and thoughtfully. And in the next section, we'll explore exactly that, the real-life stories of older adults who regained their strength, confidence, and freedom just by making one small change in their morning routine. Let's take a look at what happened when science met real lives and how you can follow in their footsteps. Not every health transformation begins in a hospital or a clinic. Sometimes it starts quietly, at the kitchen table before sunrise with a simple shift in routine. Take Mr. Harold, a 73-year-old retired bus mechanic from Cincinnati. When he first came to our clinic, he struggled with everyday tasks that most of us take for granted. He needed assistance getting up from his recliner. Climbing stairs left him winded. His balance was deteriorating to the point where he avoided going outside unless necessary. What was most discouraging wasn't just the physical limitations, but the loss of confidence and independence that came with them. Harold didn't want to burden his daughter, but he knew things were slipping. He asked the question many seniors silently wonder, is this just what getting old feels like? What Harold didn't realize was that his body wasn't giving up. It was simply underfueled and mistimed. After a full evaluation, we discovered his dietary pattern included a coffee and toast breakfast, low in protein and nearly void of the nutrients needed to stimulate muscle repair. His lunch and dinner were decent, but by the time those meals arrived, the window for optimal muscle synthesis had passed. We guided Harold toward a new plan: eat within 45 minutes of waking and start with half a cup of black beans paired with 1 to 2 soft-boiled eggs. No protein powders, no expensive supplements, just whole foods at the right time. Within the first few days, Harold noticed subtle changes. He could get out of his chair without bracing himself. His legs felt steadier walking across the kitchen. 2 weeks later, he proudly called to say he had climbed the 5 steps into his church unaided for the first time in nearly a year. Harold's story is not unique. Across the country, more seniors are discovering that resilience isn't lost with age, it's rediscovered through nourishment. Take the case of Mrs. Linda, an 81-year-old retired librarian from Oregon. She had a long-standing battle with nighttime leg cramps, poor sleep, and frequent nighttime urination that left her groggy and irritable in the mornings. Her energy levels were on a steady decline, and she was considering moving into assisted living, not due to major illness, but due to exhaustion and worry. Her typical breakfast, a banana and a cup of green tea, sometimes skipped entirely. We proposed a shift that seemed almost too simple, a balanced breakfast rich in magnesium, potassium, and protein, taken within an hour of waking. Linda agreed to try black beans with a soft-boiled egg, paired with steamed kale or avocado toast, light but nutrient-dense. Within 10 days, her sleep improved. She reported fewer leg cramps and longer periods of uninterrupted rest. By week 3, she was no longer waking multiple times to use the bathroom. The change wasn't miraculous, it was metabolic. Linda's body wasn't broken. It was malnourished at the wrong time of day, and when she began respecting her body's natural rhythm, it began responding with renewed vigor. These stories may seem anecdotal, but they're grounded in evidence-backed mechanisms. According to Dr. Sarah Donnelly, a senior nutrition scientist at the Institute for Aging Research, the body's ability to synthesize muscle protein declines with age, but not irreversibly. We now understand that nutrient timing, especially in the morning, plays a critical role in muscle maintenance and recovery. Protein intake in the first 2 hours after waking can reduce catabolic stress and promote anabolic recovery even in adults over 80. Her team's findings, published in the Journal of Gerontology, Medical Sciences, support the idea that the timing of nutrients can be just as important as quantity. Further support comes from Dr. Kevin Adler, a geriatric dietitian at the National Center for Nutrition and Healthy Aging. We used to think seniors just needed more protein, but what we found is that they also need the right kind of protein, delivered in a way that the body can use, ideally with lucerne-rich foods, fiber, and healthy fats, and ideally early in the day. Black beans, he explains, are a powerful tool because they provide complete amino acids when paired with eggs, stabilize blood sugar, and offer anti-inflammatory benefits that support both muscle and metabolic function. What makes these recoveries so inspiring is not just the physical improvement, but the psychological ripple effect. When a senior feels stronger, they also feel more hopeful. They engage more socially, take more walks, and spend more time with grandchildren. These moments add up to life, not merely the absence of disease, but the presence of vitality. The stories of Harold and Linda are, in essence, reminders that change doesn't always require a prescription. It sometimes requires a plate of warm food at the right hour. It's important to emphasize that these outcomes didn't happen because of magic beans or miracle ingredients. The key was synergy, the right food, the right nutrients at the right time. And that synergy begins with understanding what's in the food itself, how it nourishes the aging body, supports muscle regeneration, stabilizes blood sugar, and reduces inflammation. So now that we've seen how real seniors have rebuilt their lives through small, intentional dietary shifts, it's time to take a closer look at the foods themselves. What exactly makes black beans and eggs so powerful in reversing age-related muscle loss? How do they work biochemically, metabolically, and functionally to restore strength? Let's break down the nutrition science behind these humble ingredients in the next section. When it comes to building or maintaining muscle in older adults, not all foods are created equal, and black beans and eggs happen to be two of the most powerful, accessible, and well-balanced tools we have. Let's start with black beans. Despite their humble reputation as a side dish, these small legumes pack a serious nutritional punch that directly supports muscle health. Black beans are naturally rich in leucine, isoleucine, and valine, the three branch-chain amino acids BCAAs that play a critical role in stimulating muscle protein synthesis. Leucine in particular is the primary trigger for muscle-building pathways in the body, and older adults often require higher amounts of it due to decreased anabolic sensitivity. What makes black beans unique among plant-based proteins is their ability to deliver these amino acids without the excess processing or additives found in commercial protein powders. Beyond their protein profile, black beans also offer soluble fiber, which helps regulate blood sugar, a key factor in preventing muscle degradation. Stable glucose levels mean that nutrients can be properly delivered into muscle cells rather than being stored as fat or lost to inflammation. Their fiber also acts as a prebiotic, feeding beneficial gut bacteria that influence nutrient absorption, hormone balance, and even mood regulation. This matters because digestion often weakens with age, and black beans provide a gentle yet effective way to support gut health without straining the system. When properly soaked and cooked, black beans are soft enough to be consumed even by those with dental issues, a common concern in the elderly population. Then there's the anti-inflammatory power of black beans. Rich in polyphenols and flavonoids, including anthocyanins, the same compounds that give blueberries their deep color, black beans help reduce chronic, low-grade inflammation that contributes to muscle wasting, poor circulation, and slower recovery times. Inflammation, often invisible, is one of the biggest hidden obstacles to healthy aging. The magnesium and potassium content in black beans also plays an essential role in preventing nighttime leg cramps, improving nerve signaling, and enhancing muscle contraction. Just half a cup of cooked black beans provides roughly 30% of the daily magnesium requirement, something 70% of older adults are deficient in. All of this makes black beans a rare example of a food that is affordable, versatile, and truly therapeutic. Now let's look at eggs, a nutritional powerhouse that has been wrongly vilified for decades due to outdated fears about cholesterol. One large egg contains approximately 6 grams of high biological value protein, meaning it provides all 9 essential amino acids in proportions the body can readily absorb and use. This is especially important for seniors, whose digestive efficiency tends to decline over time. Unlike red meat or heavily processed protein bars, eggs are easy to prepare, soft, and highly digestible. But the magic isn't just in the white, it's in the yolk. Egg yolks are loaded with vitamin D, which enhances calcium absorption and supports skeletal strength. They also contain lutein and zeaxanthin, antioxidants known for protecting the eyes, crucial for seniors at risk of falling due to poor depth perception. Selenium in the yolk protects muscles from oxidative damage, while choline plays a vital role in neuromuscular function and memory retention. Together, these nutrients support not just muscle integrity, but also coordination and cognitive health. The real nutritional synergy happens when black beans and eggs are combined in a single morning meal. Together, they form a complete amino acid profile, support blood sugar balance through fiber and healthy fats, and deliver both fast-acting and slow-release nutrients. The beans act as a gentle source of complex carbohydrates and plant protein, while the eggs offer highly bioavailable animal protein and essential fats. This combination creates a steady stream of amino acids, glucose, and micronutrients that fuel muscle recovery and mental focus for hours. It's no exaggeration to say that this simple duo can do more for an older adult's health than a shelf full of supplements, especially when consumed regularly and at the right time of day. Of course, food is just one piece of the puzzle. Nutrients are only as effective as the body's ability to deliver them to the right tissues. That's where movement comes in. To fully activate the benefits of a nutrient-rich breakfast, light physical activity is essential. In the next section, we'll explore how simple morning movements can turn on your muscles, enhance nutrient absorption, and accelerate your progress. No gym required. Eating the right foods is essential, but unless those nutrients are delivered to the right places, particularly your muscles, their benefits may never fully materialize. It's a bit like inserting a key into a lock but never turning it. That's where movement, especially gentle, intentional movement shortly after breakfast, becomes vital. For older adults, light physical activity within 30 minutes of eating doesn't just burn calories. It signals the body to shuttle nutrients into muscle cells, enhance protein synthesis, and activate neuromuscular pathways that may have been dormant overnight. Without this activation, even a perfectly balanced breakfast can fall short of its full potential. Movement acts as the switch that tells your body, let's rebuild, let's recover. Science backs this up. A 2021 study in the Journal of Geriatric Physical Therapy found that seniors who engaged in 10 minutes of light physical activity after a high-protein meal had significantly better amino acid uptake into muscle tissue compared to those who remained sedentary. Blood flow increases during movement, which helps distribute amino acids, glucose, and oxygen more effectively to muscle fibers. Additionally, the nervous system responds to movement by reactivating neuromuscular signals, which are critical for balance, strength, and coordination. Think of it as setting the stage for your body to use what you just ate, not store it as fat, but convert it into energy, muscle tissue, and recovery fuel. The good news. This doesn't require a gym, expensive equipment, or even leaving your home. 10 minutes of gentle, structured motion can make a meaningful difference, especially when done consistently each morning. For most seniors, the best place to start is with simple movements that gradually reawaken the body. For example, marching in place for 60 seconds can raise your heart rate, promote circulation, and prepare your legs for weight-bearing activities. Follow that with seated leg extensions, lifting one leg at a time while seated in a sturdy chair for 10 repetitions on each side. This strengthens the quadriceps and improves knee stability without putting strain on the joints. Next, wall push-ups offer a gentle way to engage the upper body and core. Stand arm's length from a wall, place your hands flat, and slowly lean forward, then push back. 8 to 10 reps are enough to activate chest, shoulder, and triceps muscles, improving posture and arm strength. After that, lateral steps, small side-to-side steps while maintaining balance, can improve hip mobility and support gait function. Finish with slow shoulder rolls and neck stretches to reduce tension and improve circulation in the upper spine. Each of these movements can be modified depending on your level of mobility. If standing is difficult, all exercises except wall push-ups can be performed while seated. What matters most is consistency and intention. For seniors with arthritis, balance issues, or chronic pain, these movements should be performed slowly, focusing on range of motion rather than speed. Using a support surface such as a countertop, the back of a sturdy chair, or a walker is not only acceptable but encouraged. The goal is not exhaustion, it's activation. Just like you wouldn't expect a car to run efficiently if the engine hasn't warmed up, your muscles need a moment of activation to use the nutrients you've just provided. These few minutes of morning movement can create a powerful feedback loop. You start your day with a nutritious breakfast, follow it with light activity, and your body rewards you with more energy, improved digestion, better muscle function, and even sharper focus. Over time, this routine becomes more than just physical, it becomes motivational. When you feel yourself getting stronger, steadier, and more alert, you're more likely to maintain healthy habits, move more throughout the day, and experience a higher quality of life. But as effective as this morning routine can be, there are still a handful of common habits that silently sabotage progress, behaviors that many older adults engage in without realizing the long-term impact on muscle health. Before we celebrate the progress made, let's identify the most damaging patterns that may be holding you back. In the next section, we'll uncover the 5 critical mistakes that can quietly undermine your recovery, even if you're eating well and moving daily. Even when you're doing most things right, eating well, moving regularly, staying positive, there are subtle habits that can quietly undermine your progress. These small but repeated behaviors, often dismissed as harmless, act like leaks in the foundation of your recovery. Over time, they not only slow muscle repair, but can reverse gains you've worked hard to achieve. Recognizing and correcting these 5 common mistakes is just as important as building good habits, especially when your goal is to regain strength, stability, and confidence in your body. The first and perhaps most widespread mistake is skipping breakfast. Many seniors believe that eating less, particularly in the morning, will help with weight management or digestion. But after a night of fasting, your body is already in a catabolic state, meaning it's breaking down tissue for energy. If no protein or fuel is introduced within the first hour of waking, the body begins pulling amino acids from muscle tissue, accelerating muscle loss. This isn't just a missed opportunity, it's a step backward. Over time, habitual breakfast skipping leads to fatigue, imbalance, and the loss of lean mass, even if your total calorie intake is low. The first meal of the day should be seen as a medical intervention, not just a tradition. It interrupts catabolism, kickstarts metabolism, and primes the body for healing. The second mistake is over-relying on multivitamins instead of real food. While supplements can play a role in targeted nutrition, they are not a substitute for whole, nutrient-dense meals. Many over-the-counter vitamins offer low bioavailability, meaning your body absorbs only a fraction of the nutrients listed on the label. Worse, when taken on an empty stomach or without dietary fat, absorption is even poorer, particularly for fat-soluble vitamins like D, E, and K. Moreover, the psychological effect of taking a pill often gives a false sense of nutritional security. Real food offers complex nutrient profiles, fiber, and cofactors necessary for optimal absorption and use. For example, the magnesium and potassium in black beans, combined with the choline and selenium in eggs, work synergistically in a way no single capsule can replicate. Third on the list is remaining sedentary after meals, particularly breakfast. It may feel natural to sit down and rest after eating, but prolonged stillness blunts the body's ability to shuttle nutrients where they're needed most. Blood flow slows, muscles remain inactive, and the signal for growth and repair weakens. This pattern is known as postprandial inertia, and it has been linked to higher rates of sarcopenia in older adults. Instead, light activity, like a 5-minute walk, leg extensions, or simply standing and stretching, can help direct nutrients into muscle tissue, improve insulin sensitivity, and enhance digestion. The goal isn't exertion. It's activation. The fourth common habit that sabotages recovery is eating heavy meals late at night. Your body uses the nighttime to regenerate and repair muscle tissue, but if it's busy digesting a large, fatty, or carbohydrate-heavy meal, that healing process gets compromised. Eating too close to bedtime raises insulin levels, disrupts circadian rhythm, and leads to fragmented sleep, especially if the meal includes processed sugars or refined starches. Poor sleep means reduced secretion of growth hormone, which plays a crucial role in overnight muscle repair. The result: you wake up groggy, inflamed, and less resilient. A good rule of thumb is to finish eating 2 to 3 hours before bed and focus on lighter, protein-rich evening meals. Finally, the fifth and most overlooked mistake is chronic underhydration. Water makes up about 75% of muscle tissue, yet many older adults drink too little throughout the day, often out of fear of frequent urination. Even mild dehydration can impair circulation, reduce joint lubrication, and slow metabolic functions essential for muscle maintenance. It also increases the risk of cramps, dizziness, and fatigue. A better approach is to sip small amounts consistently during the day, rather than chugging all at once. Adding a pinch of sea salt or a splash of lemon can improve electrolyte balance and absorption. And remember, thirst is a late signal. By the time you feel it, performance, both mental and physical, is already diminished. Avoiding these 5 silent saboteurs can dramatically accelerate your journey towards strength and recovery. They don't require radical life changes, just awareness, small adjustments, and consistency. When combined with a nutrient-dense breakfast, daily light movement, and intentional hydration, these corrections create an environment where your body can thrive again. Now that we've exposed the most common roadblocks to rebuilding muscle, it's time to step back and look at the big picture. What can we learn from this process? How can you use this knowledge to not only heal, but also protect your independence and vitality moving forward? In the next and final section, we'll reflect on the core lessons of this journey and offer a clear call to action, because knowing is only half the battle. Doing is where the change begins. Let's bring it all together. Just imagine what can happen when you commit to something this simple. Half a cup of black beans, 1 egg, 10 minutes of gentle movement every morning for 3 weeks. That's it. No pills, no gym memberships. Just real food, real motion, and real results. You've seen the science. You've heard the stories. So now the question is yours. If your body is quietly waiting for you to wake it back up, will you let it keep sleeping, or will you rise and take action? We're inviting you to join the 14-day Muscle Comeback Challenge right here with us at Senior Wisdom Life. Try this routine for 2 weeks. See how your legs feel. Track your energy. And when you notice the change, however big or small, share your journey in the comments, because this isn't just about you. It's about all of us. When we share our wins, our struggles, our hope, we build something stronger than muscle. We build community. Drop a comment below. What did you try? What did you feel? What's next for you? Let's support each other, lift each other, and prove once and for all it's never too late to come back stronger.